Hey everybody, this is Perch, and Iron Fist is Danny Rand. Iron Fist is calling it quits in 2022. So basically, what we're going to get is some level of story. We're going to hear about it, I guess, in a day or two. What's actually going to happen? This will be in February when this actually comes out, and there's at least some, kind of an arc or a title or a limited series. I mean, it's going to be a limited series, I would imagine. It's not going to be ongoing. But there's this promo image of basically Danny Rand. He's thrown his Iron Fist costume into the garbage. This is a homage to the Peter Parker throwing the Spider-Man costume in the trash and walking away. And the basic that's the image. That's on the Iron Fist No More text there. And so what's happening? Are we losing Iron Fist? Are we losing Danny Rand Iron Fist? The answer appears to be yes. Now, this could be a swerve, certainly, of him, dumping the Iron Fist costume and everything else. But it certainly appears because in the limited series that was out, God, was it last year or this year? The Iron Fist Heart of the Dragon. I guess this year. It's been a weird year. If 2020 sucked, 2021 was much worse, in my opinion. But anyway, Danny Rand passed along passed along their Iron Fist powers to OK to defeat a villain. And OK then put the powers into an egg of Pei's dragon Gork, who was being reborn as Gork the Undying, replacing Xiao Lu as the Undying, the dragon from which the Iron Fist powers were previously taken from. Okay, that's the synopsis there. So in that, the concluding part of that story, Danny Rand kind of walked away and said that he was going to continue to live life to the fullest, but appears to be dropping the Iron Fist, name, and he's got already lost of power, so the name and the costume is going away. So what's going on? Well, it I know from talking to a decent number of people from Marvel in the past, when that Iron Fist Netflix show came out, and there was that whole dust up and kind of anger about whitewashing the character, which is always kind of weird because Danny Rand has been the Iron Fist always. There's no, when you cast a white guy to play the comic based on a white guy, you're not whitewashing Iron Fist. You're accurately casting the role to the person who was in that role. That is what you're doing. But there was this argument said that, well, Marvel should have taken the moment when they did the Netflix shows to actually, stop with the cultural appropriation of what should have been an Asian character. Now, just jumping in here for a moment, if you remember the history of Iron Fist, it's not exactly how it went. It's not like there was. I mean, you have to really kind of look sideways at it to call it cultural appropriation. There was, the whole idea was this outsider getting these powers. It wasn't that there was this legend that was based in kind of Asian history, and then Marvel's like, well, we got to have a white guy doing this. It wasn't like that. That's not accurate. So I don't know if you're saying you should have taken the moment to have it be an Asian character. I think that would have broken the story. That was, I mean, you could have told a new story with it, and that's fine. But that wasn't the entire idea. Was this this character, this kind of white guy who had some money, getting these powers, and then kind of living in this mixed life of businessman, wealthy, and also kung fu, basically martial arts. And so you have to kind of, in order to go down the cultural appropriation, whitewashing bit, you have to sign on to the idea that that any martial arts performed by anyone who's not Asian is is theft. And I just don't. I mean, like, I don't know. This Jean-Claude Van Damme, is that also cultural appropriation we're doing there? Like, I mean, at some point you're like, I don't prescribe to the idea that any martial arts character has to be Asian. And in fact, I think even that is pretty, if you really want to, if you're going to go down that path, then you should be, ethnically accurate to the form of martial arts being used, whether it's Korean or Thai or Vietnamese or Japanese or Chinese. You can't just mix and match. And I find that happens a lot with things where they talk about Asian cultural appropriation, is that it becomes the as long as it's an Asian guy, somebody who looks Asian, and it's fine. But turns out there are major differences between Japanese and Chinese and Korean people and they have their own distinct cultures, and in many cases don't like each other very much. But that's a whole other video. But there is I find it I always find it baffling when somebody's like, oh, it's racist to have martial arts movies with white people in the martial arts role. That should be portrayed by an Asian person. You're like, well, what do you mean? What kind of Asian person? If you're doing Taekwondo, what is the national? What kind of? And they're like, no, just an Asian. It's like, so somebody from India would also work. That's Asia. I mean, what are we even talking about here? At any rate, back when the Iron Fist Netflix show came out, there was this pushback. Places like the Mary Sue, a lot of articles like Disney missed a golden opportunity to right a cultural appropriation wrong, but instead chose to give us another white actor. I'm actually reading from a headline there. Okay, so I like I said, I've always felt that was nonsense. I think that's people trying to instill their kind of identity politics onto things that don't need it. I think if you want to come out with a powerful Asian-based character, I think there's lots of opportunities to do that. I don't think saying you got to erase existing characters is the way to do that, but I know that's the go-to for several people. But that's that when that happened, people inside the comics division of Marvel seemed to be shocked, and also seemed to be like, oh my God, they're right. What are we doing? What are we doing here? And you saw, Iron Fist hasn't been a character that's been majorly used in quite a long time. But when the show came out, there became this extremely hesitant, tentative view on what to do with Iron Fist. It's like people pulled back, like, oh crap, what do we do? I don't know. I don't. Maybe we shouldn't get involved. Stop. I don't know what we should do. Quick, figure out a way to get his powers to a young Asian girl. Like that seemed to be the mode. And this series, again, hard to tell. We're speculating here, but it certainly appears that we're going to get kind of the finale to Danny Rand in this role. Now, Marvel being Marvel, don't think they're going to kill him. I don't think they're going to have the character retire and be like, well, see you later, folks. I think that maybe we'll get a new identity. Maybe he'll call himself, Danny Rand, Texas Cowboy. What would be appropriate here? Oh, you don't want to have Texas be in the name. I don't know, like New York Avenger, Manhattan Matador. No, God, you can't do that. That's going to open up a whole new can of worms. I don't know, but I'm guessing we're getting a new identity for Danny Rand here. I'm guessing they're going to continue to want to distance him from the Iron Fist persona and fighting style and everything else. I predict that none of this will be particularly interesting to a lot of people, and he'll fade back into obscurity until somebody needs him for some kind of street level story. It's kind of a shame, because I think this is a case where there was existing history, there was a brand, there was the ability to do something with that character, and you had a Netflix show, not a good one for what it's worth. I mean, the comedy of all this is everybody bitched about it, and then the show itself kind of sucked. So it's like, yeah, I mean, would it have been like, I would have been better if we, had a Asian lead in that role, but the same crappy script? Probably not, but whatever turns you on. This is what we've got. So Iron Fist, in some kind of limited series, it certainly smells like, will be Iron Fist no more and on a new journey of self-discovery. So I guess then the question becomes, first of all, are you interested? Do you want to read this story? Are you a big Iron Fist fan? I doubt many of you are, and I say that because the sales of Iron Fist haven't been good in forever. So if there's this is one of those cases where I don't know, are we going to get a bunch of videos of people like, I'm the biggest Iron Fist fan, and how dare they do this to Danny Rand? And it's like, I don't know. There's there's like 15 of you out there, sure, but I do agree that the entire absurdity around cultural appropriation and whitewashing and all that stuff, it doesn't fit this character. It doesn't fit this situation. I think it's ridiculous and wrong that they're doing all this. But I also we'll see if there's outrage about this move from a bunch of people that suddenly come out of the woodwork who claim to be Iron Fist fans. If I sound a little bit bitter, it's because I really liked Kari Andrews, his Iron Fist comic that he did a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed it. I thought the style of art was great. I liked what he did. It was fun. It was a good read. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't sell that thing. I sold it to a few. I recommended. I pitched that book hard because it was a great read, and it's worth going back and checking it out if you can. But nobody bought that book. I tried and tried and tried and tried, but I couldn't move it in my shop. And so if you're hearing me say like I don't believe you to a bunch of the Iron Fist fans that are going to come out and be angry about this, it's like part of me is like, where were you? Where were you a couple of years ago when I had this book and you didn't show up? Bastards, where were you? But we'll see. What do you think about all this? Excited to see a new Iron Fist character or not? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.